Farrington home. We're in this room that is just surrounded by so many things and so many memories about Rambling Willie. Bob, what is your greatest memory of Rambling Willie?
Well, I think just overall it's been a big memory to me. There's a couple races that kind of sticks out in my mind, but
Name one.
I think the Driscoll Series at the Meadowlands, that was a $196,000 race, and I think the Classic in California is the two races that really sticks out.
And was he just a pleasure to drive, or was he a problem to drive?
No, he was a little on the lazy side, but you had to get after him quite a bit, but whenever you get after him, he'd respond, and that's what made him such a great horse. He just kept trying right down to the wire.
Now, Vivian, I have been doing a lot of thinking about you these past few days and putting this whole program together, because I think about the relationship that you must have had. You were directly responsible for Willie's life and Bob's life and being involved in them, and you had a very, very special kind of personal relationship with Rambling Willie and Bob. Can you tell people how you felt about that? First with Rambling Willie. I mean, there was a special bond between the two of you. Can you explain that?
Well, Willie was special to me because I'd always wanted this horse. And when it was my horse, it was like my pet. And he was like one of the family, and he could communicate with you. I'd talk to him, and he'd like respond. And when I would ask him about winning a race, he even shook his head yes. And we found out he did win the races when he shook his head yes, and he didn't win when he didn't shake his head yes.
Did people think you were crazy?
No, I had quite a few would come up before the races and go to the barn with me to see if he was going to win or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so they believed it, you know.
And how about Bob and all of the things that he and Rambling Willie went through together? When he came back and lost a race that he felt he should have won, I mean, what did you do to console him or comfort him, and through all of those years? I mean, it couldn't have been an easy life.
Well, Bob always took everything in stride. He never let anything bother him. If he had a down, you never knew it. He was always on the up. And Bob and Willie were alike, and they always did their best, and you can't ask any more of them. So win or lose, you know, it was always okay because we knew they did their best. Willie lost several races, but we found out later he had a problem. Mm-hmm. He had a really bad throat. He couldn't breathe, get his wind and everything. He had a sinus problem. He had a lot of problems that he raced with that no one knew about.
And he just kept coming back for more.
Right. He loved to race, because I remember one time it was at the Meadows, and Bob didn't think he was quite right, and he thought he was going to scratch him, but he said in front of Willie, I'll warm him up and I'll see how he is, and if he looks, you know, dinky, we'll scratch him. And he looked perfect warming up, and he won the race. After the race, when he pulled him up, he couldn't hardly get him back to the barn.
And what was the injury then?
I think the bow tendon just flared up on him.
And that's when you put him in the pool out there.
Yeah.
That you had to rely on a lot of your experience and a lot of training that you didn't have when you were treating Willie and training him and getting him ready for races and taking care of him when he came back from them badly. What was the biggest problem that you overcame with him?
Well, I think his bow tennis was his biggest problems, and then he had a check ligament behind. But it's awful hard to treat a horse when you're shipping every week and racing different tracks and different veterinarians, and it's a lot more difficult than it is if you're at one place all the time.
Tomorrow, Vivian Farrington tells us about the horse that God loved.